Dear participants, dear speakers, dear members, partners, and friends of the FOPEMIL initiative, it is my pleasure today to welcome you at the FOPEMIL Restoration in Action official event. Reimagine, recreate, and restore is the motto of the launching week of the Decade on Ecosystem Regeneration. So let's start our FOPEMIL World Restoration Tour. I declare this event open. And our first speaker will be Marc Bernard. He is the Network and Global Facilities Coordinator at the Executive Secretariat of the FOPEMIL initiative. So Marc, I now hand over to you.
Thank you. Dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you for giving us this opportunity. We are honored and proud to be part of this movement and will do our best to contribute to its success. In this presentation, I want to share with you our experience with the virtual fair in the context of our initiative. Now, the COP/PROMIL initiative, Source for Food Security and Climate, is a global multi-stakeholder platform. It was initiated at the COP21 in Paris in 2015. Today, we count 621 member organizations and have unite a total of 1,900 professionals. It's a huge pool of diverse skills and backgrounds. COP/PROMIL follows a decentralized approach, networks directly with local stakeholders, and provides facilities for achieving our 2050 vision, worldwide healthy carbon-rich soils, and I have to move this bar, to combat climate change and hunger. We have established an operational framework for the provision of facilities to our community of practice and citizens. Now there's two types of facilities. One is the core facilities and the global facilities. The core facilities are provided by the Executive Secretariats. These are strategic development, networking, advocacy, awareness, and partnership building. Global facilities are not provided by the Secretariat directly, but in partnership with key partners that have a wealth of expertise available. These are things like a project help desk, a good practice help desk, an MRV toolbox, NDC support facilities, and soil monitoring facilities, and others. We count on your support to enable and empower the partnerships that we need to establish and operate these global facilities. Now, that's a lot of people and a good plan, but how do we get it moving? And this is where the COP/PROMIL fair comes in. Now, the idea came to our mind on January 26. The fair opened on May 3 at the beginning of the EU Green Week. At that point, we had 89 exhibition stands and 212 exhibitors that participated actively. I visited all of them, and I met 36 teams for a 1-hour talk, well prepared and without getting out of breath. Amazing journey around the globe, incredible. All these friendly and open-minded people, interesting and wonderful people. I learned so much from them. So I leave it to the others to make their presentation. I don't want to go more into detail. Now, the fair brought our initiative to life. It was really a breakthrough in transforming a large group of diverse people into an agile network. It allowed the members to discover their respective skills and to engage in intentional networking. The virtual nature allowed everyone equal opportunity to participate and to join in the global debate. It provided enough time and ample opportunities to meet, listen, talk, and get to know each other. It allows us to keep transaction costs and carbon footprint for interaction low. It is a huge success, and we decided to make it a permanent facility of our initiative. I hope it works now. Yes. Now, this is also nice, but how do we translate this into action on the ground? Now, I want to present to you an idea which is called the Twin Regions Movement to show you how we have one way of putting this onto the ground. Now, Twin Regions, in fact, seeks to trigger a massive engagement of civil citizens of global solidarity and international cooperation for regeneration. It leverages the complementarity of regions in terms of carbon emissions and sequestration potential. Let me explain. If you look at the carbon depth of the European Union, since 1960, we have emitted about 195 gigatons of carbon. Sub-Saharan Africa, only 30 gigatons. If you look at the sequestration potential, we discover, obviously, Africa, because of its size, has a 6 times larger sequestration potential than the European Union. On the other side, if you look at economic power, Africa is much poorer than Europe. Europe is about 8 times the economic size of Africa. Now this, of course, if you look at the two, you say, listen, why don't they match and complement each other to get carbon removed from the atmosphere? Now, let me briefly explain what a twin region is. It is a group of citizens from 2 complementary places that decide to work together to reduce emissions and to increase carbon sequestration. Their aim is to be carbon neutral in 2030 and to solve other pressing environmental and societal issues such as biodiversity loss and migration. Have a look at the Alfter side first. You will notice we have only 24,000 people as compared to 71 in Copago, but we have an enormous footprint of 300,000 tons of CO2 per year. We only have an area of 3,400 hectares in total. Half of it actually is built full with houses and roads. We have all the money, but the money won't help us to sequester carbon we emit. It's just too little the space to do a decent job. It's just not possible. A different picture if you look at Copago. Copago has 71,000 inhabitants. They have a much lower footprint, but a huge size to sequester carbon. They have about 30 times bigger area than Alfter. They have a huge sequestration potential, but they are very poor and cannot afford the means it needs to actually realize that potential. Now that's just an outline. Now, this is an interesting idea, but how do you start the movement? And I think I will just dare and we'll start myself in Alfter and in Copago. And I invite everybody to look at his place and think of it. Could we join with another place somewhere? So thanks you. Join the Regeneration, Generation for Restoration, Cap-Promil, and the Twin Regions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marc, for your presentation. Now we'll introduce you to Mr. Antonious Petro, who is a co-director at Regeneration Canada. Regeneration Canada is an NGO based in Montreal, and it is committed to taking action to regenerate land and water while acknowledging and respecting indigenous knowledge that ensures thriving for all beings. Over to you, Antonious.
Thank you, Béatrice. Can you see my screen well?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Béatrice, Paul, everybody at Cap-Promil. What a huge success at the fair. It's really pleasant to see that. Bravo. So I named my small presentation Ecosystem Restoration through Regenerative Agriculture, and I'll try my best to keep this under 5 minutes. So just as a very, very brief overview on the state of global soil. Since the dawn of agriculture, soil carbon loss is estimated to be 133 billion ton or petagram of carbon. Almost half of this got lost since the 1850, which leaves our soils in agricultural land, more specifically, with 25 to 65% less carbon. This is how much carbon we have lost. So if we can translate this into amount of soil lost only from erosion, we lose between 20 and 33 petagram of soil per year. You can think of this as around 4 tons per acre per year that we lose from our topsoil. If we take the last 5 to 6 years, you can see how much we went from 397 ppm to 416 roughly ppm in 2020. So this 19 ppm is also translated in more than 38 billion ton of carbon, or 140 petagram, billion ton of carbon dioxide, and around 200 billion ton of soil that got lost in the last six years. And as we can see here, still soil is our biggest reservoir of carbon in terms of terrestrial reservoir, more than 3 times more than the carbon that exists in our atmosphere and causing climate change. And this is where regenerative agriculture was born, looking at the potential of soil to mitigate climate change by soil carbon sequestration. Regenerative agriculture is based on principles of land management, which reverse current trends of degradation in soil, water, and air quality by enhancing the soil ecosystem and restoring its biology. Principles of regenerative agriculture aim to draw down atmospheric carbon into soil and the above ground biomass, helping to reverse climate change. It might be a new word, but the principles of regenerative agriculture are really anchored in indigenous ancestral knowledge and backed up by modern science. The ecological services of healthy soil, of regenerated soil, I'm sure everybody on this call are aware of, but enhancing crops and food nutritious value, sequestering and stocking carbon in the soil, which results in improving water cycle and, of course, restoring biodiversity. So, regenerative agriculture has a couple of principles: soil cover, perennial cropping, minimize soil disturbance, organic amendment, water management, integrating animal in our cropping system, and that has all of these eco services that you see on the screen. And for us at Regeneration Canada, this is our way to see restoration. This is our biggest potential to work with agriculture soil to seek a general ecosystem restoration. So at Regeneration Canada, our mission is to promote soil health regeneration across the country. And if you know, Canada is a very, very huge country. To help with climate change, to help mitigate climate change and to build a healthy soil. So not as big as for per thousand multi-stakeholder approach. We took this international level. So we work with land stewards, with consumers, with farmers in the center of all of that, indigenous community, and everybody. So we know that to tackle this climate crisis, we need everybody on the same table. So our strategy is really to raise awareness, to do lots of education, both to farmers or peer-to-peer learning among farmers, but also to the general public, and to build a network between all these different stakeholders. And I just wanted to show you one of our projects, which is the interactive map of regenerative farms in Canada. Sorry for the glitch in here. So we came up with this idea just first to connect consumers to a regenerative producer, but also to encourage peer-to-peer learning among farmers. We launched this map early in March this year. For now, we only have 90 farms that we put in the map after the verification processes, and that's around 80,000 acres across Canada, which is still really small for the size of the country, but we're starting. So our hope is to get to 1,000 of these farms, so we can really understand more the landscape of regenerative agriculture in Canada, and influence some policies around soil health in the national in a national level. So thank you very much. I think I got 1 minute extra. So please forgive me, Beatrice.
Thank you very much, Antonious, for your presentation. Let me welcome now Ms. Paula Costa and Mr. Valter Ziantoni. They are the founders at PretaTerra in Brazil. And I must say that PretaTerra is at the forefront of agroforestry, and it develops replicable designs of regenerative agroforestry system. So over to you, Paula and Valter.
Thank you, Beatrice. Nice to meet you all. Nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation. So we bring to you today to the event, the agroforestry as the future of agriculture as we know it.
So PretaTerra, we are an agroforestry intelligence hub. We are from Brazil, but we've been working in projects all over the world. First with technical support and especially capacity building from smallholder farmers to large scale farms as well, outgrowers, NGOs.
And basically what we do is create knowledge through capacity building and technical publication, and using all the knowledge you have available from scientific publications, but mainly looking to local knowledge, local traditional knowledge, and you put this together into a design that is replicable, modular, and elastic.
So when we say about agroforestry, we are looking for a production system that is biodiverse, that is not based on monocropping anymore, and that focusing on having trees in the landscape, bringing back the perennial element in the landscape, bringing complexity, so similar, inspired in the natural environment, in the natural forests, bringing also focusing on resilience for farmers, so climatic resilience, economical resilience, and environmental, ecological resilience.
But in other words, what you are saying is that using agroforestry, you mimic the logics of the forest, the logics that have been developed through thousands and millions of years of intelligence that nature developed. So you replicate this, we mimic this logics into a production system.
And of course, thinking of agroforestry, it focuses in soil regeneration. So we always, in our projects, in the systems that we plant on the ground with the farmers, we bring to them this logic of dense mulching, of soil covering, no tillage. So we don't use heavy machinery in the soil, only maybe in the first year, but not along the systems, because we focus in perennial species. So if we have perennial species, we don't have to annually manage the soil and revolve the soil all over again. With trees, with perennial species, with these, the roots protecting the soil, it will not only regenerate, but always be improved and getting better.
If you talk about regenerative agriculture, it's very difficult if you don't talk about agroforestry. Trees are what bring the real resilience to the system, because it will provide shade a long time, and will provide this root system that will make the soil concise and protected. So you have the pruning process that will cover the soil over and over, creating this dense mulching, and that will be very difficult to protect against the wind and the climate change impacts if you don't have trees.
And of course, this knowledge, this idea of agroforestry is not something new. It's actually an ancestral knowledge. Something that really inspires, that inspires actually our name, is the Amazonian dark earths. I don't know if you heard of it, but are these super fertile soil that we find distributed along the Amazon basin that are a result of old ancient peoples that lived in the forest, of their management of the forest. So managing the forest, these people were able to improve and stock a lot of carbon in the soil. So this is something that we look up to, that we are trying to represent or to do something similar in our production systems.
And that's not only what inspires us, but basically what we believe is that the adherence is a tool for success. It means if you take this local knowledge that is already there, that you already know what to do, like the ancient people knew how to do agriculture and agroforestry. So if you collect this information, turn that into replicable models, we can do agroforestry in a proper way. And that's basically is the tool for transition. What PretaTerra is doing, what we do, is making a robust transition for farmers, for investors, in a better understanding. So we are able to take all the information that is there for agroforestry, turn into models that are replicable, elastic, and adherent to the lands, make economical modelings, yields, prescriptions, and prognosis, and take all this into the fields and make a proper transition. So the transition to agroforestry into agroforestry and regenerative agriculture has to be robust, has to be well done.
And that's it. I hope you guys get to know a little bit more about our work in our website, our social media. And thank you so much, Béatrice, for the invitation. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. You can find more about us.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm now pleased to introduce you to Miss Dr. Nandini Joshi. She is the Senior Research Officer at BAIF Development Research Foundation, based in India. It is an organization governed by the values of Gandhi, a blend of development research, capacity development, and improved quality of life. It was founded in 1967. Over to you, Nandini.
Yes, thank you. A very warm good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. I'm Nandini, representing in India. BIF was founded in 1967 by Dr. Manibai Desai, who was a disciple of Mahatma Gandhi with the vision of building self-reliant society. We are associated with more than 5 million rural families in India, covering more than 300 million hectare area in 13 states of India through various multidisciplinary programs. The interventions realizing well-being of rural families help not only to earn billions of rupees of additional income by poor farmers, but also to restore land and ecosystem. For sustainable rural development, the programs implemented by BIF are focusing majorly on areas like improvement of rural tribal livelihoods, natural resource management, and measures of ecosystem restoration related to agriculture and livestock production. Various activities contributing to rural societal development, such as community mobilization and women empowerment, are complementary programs. For restoration of agricultural ecosystems, soil restoration is one of the key components. We are attempting to achieve it by improving organic carbon content of soil, by minimizing GHG emissions from agricultural operations, through climate change adaptation and mitigation measures, and by rejuvenating landscape ecosystem through participatory approach. For soil fertility restoration, as organic carbon content improvement is one of the important measures, to realize this, we have implemented various activities like composting, green manuring, application of biological inputs, and use of biochar. We conduct various trainings and demonstrations of on-farm production of compost and biochar for farmers. BIF has also conceived the integrated renewable energy and sustainable agriculture, that is IRISA approach. The IRISA approach focuses simultaneously on optimal use of existing resources for sustainable energy generation for cooking, as well as on value-added organic manure production for soil fertility. We also sensitize the farmers about using agro-weather advisories for successful crop production and regarding importance of soil fertility restoration. Here you can have a look at photographs showing soil fertility restoration measures like biochar production on the right side and IRISA unit, which I have explained. For agricultural ecosystem restoration, along with soil fertility restoration, measures an agroforestry intervention, which we called as WADI, was developed and implemented by BIF in many states of India, reaching approximately 81,000 hectares of low productive land. Wadi is nothing but a tree-based farming system consisting of 2-3 fruit species, multipurpose forestry trees along the border, combined with annual as intercrops. To restore degraded land rainwater conservation, BIF is introducing land degradation neutrality measures like construction of farm bunds, masonry outlets. This is expected to help passing of water from agricultural land at non-erosive velocity, resulting in soil conservation. All these activities ensure soil conservation. Climate smart interventions play a major role in farm ecosystem restoration. Use of solar pumps, improved methods of crop cultivation, low cost mulching techniques are few of them which are being implemented successfully with farmers. BIF is implementing various measures related to climate change adaptation and mitigation, contributing to SDG Goal 13 in partnership with NABARD Adaptation Fund Board, BISA, and CGIAR program in India. Our efforts are also towards conservation of agro-biodiversity through conservation of local cultivars suitable to existing agroclimatic conditions, integrating crop and livestock farming, agroecological interventions, focusing on crop and soil microbial diversity, again through participatory approach. All the mentioned activities have created significant economic, social, and environmental impact through increase in crop yield and income of farmers, enhancement in productivity of degraded lands, carbon sequestration in soil, improvement in biodiversity and ecosystem services, and also enhance knowledge and skill of the community. The approach and practices related to ecosystem restoration are sustainable and can be replicated outside of the India as well. BIF is ready to replicate these proven and tested models. BIF can also work as a resource support agency for facilitating application. Thank you once again for patient hearing, and BIF thanks to organizers for giving us this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I know there are thunderstorms in India, so that was not so easy for the sound. So our next speaker will be Mr. Patrick Kaka and Marcel Mulombo.
Marcel.
So from GIERI. Patrick Kaka is the director of GIERI. Marcel is a program manager. And GIERI is the groupe d'intervention pour l'encadrement et la réhabilitation intégrale. It means intervention group for supervision and integral rehabilitation. It's based in Democratic Republic of Congo. And it was founded in 1957. And it's an NGO whose mission is to contribute to the establishment of a climate of peace and the promotion of community development. Over to you, Patrick and Marcel.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, many thanks for this opportunity. My beautiful country has been blessed with so many wonderful natural resources, mineral, water, and volcano, and forest. Unfortunately, the volcano didn't have the mercy on us on Saturday, 22nd May, because it erupted in the town of Goma. However, we still have the forest. Today, the question about global warming is crucial. And yeah, today the question is about the global warming. And everybody is talking about it. That's why we are here today. The world population is increasing. And therefore, the demand for energy increase as a result of greenhouse gas emission. This affects also the food production. That is why in the central of Africa, with our gift from the nature, Congo can play a huge role. The Shabunda project is located in Congo, in Eastern Congo, and the Congo, for those who don't know where it is, it's in the central of Africa. And right now, we started this project we focus on working with local community or indigenous community to protect their forest. We believe that the best people, community that can protect its forest, they are people, native people. That is why we empower the community on how they can produce the food while preserving the forest. We are aiming to protect right now 200 hectares of forest in Shabunda. This will include getting revenue that will help this community to improve their social condition while preserving the forest. We believe that instead of letting people cutting trees to make food or to improve their condition, there is another way we can empower those people while we are preserving their forest. By working on Shabunda project, we teach people how they can also do the reforestation, because we believe that forest management is crucial to protect it. And that's why we are working with our partner, Planet Alpha, which we are planning to put the carbon captures in the forest of Shabunda, where we can know exactly how much carbon our forest is taking down and other greenhouse minerals. By also working with this community, we teach them also how they can develop their community, for example, by introducing the solar energy. And also we teach them also how they can make a good agriculture system in their community. Me and Patrick, we are educated as agriculture engineers, and we work closely with this community to help them to improve their agriculture conditions. And this can be like working, making field beside the forest. As I said, with our partner, Planet Alpha, with the sensors, we will know exactly what kind of greenhouse gas the forest is trying to take down. And this can also, we can try to make a lobbying with the international community to see whether they can support those people living in that forest to preserve their forest, while we are also getting we are preserving our nature, which is also source of decreasing the greenhouse effect. The world needs Congo, as the Congo needs the support for the support from the international community. We don't want this forest to burn down as many forests. We don't want to lose this forest as Amazon is losing a huge part. And that's why we try first with this 200,000 hectares from Shabunda. But Congo is huge, has a huge forest. As you know, it has a huge part of tropical forest in the whole world. Patrick, you want to complete me? We still have 2 minutes. Thank you very much from our side.
Thank you very much, dear Patrick and Marcel. The next speaker will be Mr. Joseph Mugogo. Joseph is program manager at the Simpson Foundation in Malawi, based in Malawi. And the foundation's mission is to bring smallholder farmers together to fight poverty. It was founded in 2013. Over to you, Joseph.
Simpson Foundation basically we are trying to bring economic development in the rural Malawi based on nature. Next slide. Yes, we'll see that all of us will depend on this globe, which is so nice with all the waters. However, we tend to ignore the simplicity of that nature, even when nature is the fundamental asset of our everyday life. So we need to make sure that we are developing without destroying the nature. Next screen, please. Okay, yeah, so we'll see that restoring the ecosystem is a fundamental to achieving all our sustainable development goals. But the problem is that what is it that going to incentivize people to make sure that they are really restoring that? And the answer to that is not a one-man show. It's about to be a collective action. And that's why now the 4 per 1,000 comes in. Yeah, and the people will need to survive and flourish at all costs. And basically, you find that people will use the weaker link. Unfortunately, the weaker link is the ecosystem and diversity. Looking at this statistics that 2.4 million hectares of degraded cropland, it can actually, if we restore that, it will produce about 1.5 million tons of maize, which can feed up to 5 million people. And those people, basically, there are people who are in the rural areas. Next screen. Look at that as well. Malawi is losing up to 29 tons of soil per hectare to erosion. And for the past 20 years, Malawi has lost about 193 kilo hectares of tree cover. And that's translated to about 76.7 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions. And I think that's where the issue of Bernard comes into play to make sure that we are able to reduce this carbon dioxide emission. Next screen. So we'll see that natural source assets are actually being liquidated at the faster rates that they have been invested. And rural livelihoods are actually being compromised, resulting in abject poverty, which they cannot easily come out. And it means, therefore, that the future generations will not be able to fend for themselves in terms of forestry and livelihoods. So we just need to make sure that everything is being mitigated now. We have also looked at the current legal frameworks within the country. We find that it is actually focusing on resource management and not basically on restoration, and that's a problem. Even the existing policies, their implementation becomes an issue because of the capacity, despite the fact that there are a lot of economic benefits in nature, which can bring to the society. And unfortunately, the people are only looking at the easier way to do it. No, we can go to the next slide. So what are the drivers? One is the rising population. Malawi currently stands at 18 million people within a small country. And there's also, because of that, there's a lot of expansion in marginal areas. And there's also an unsustainable natural resource extraction, mainly for household use. You can see those guys there that carry bags of charcoal for the city. And it's providing employment to almost 235 people, amounting to $66 million. And that was in 2016. Currently, it's starting at 191, if I'm not mistaken. Next screen. Do we have a window of hope? Yes, we have. Rural communities on themselves, based on their natural knowledge, they know that their ecosystem can improve the soil fertility, reduce erosion, or whatever. However, their major problem is that they don't have any alternative means of livelihood, mainly during off-farming season. Next slide. And at Simpson Foundation, we believe that we are duty bound to prevent, halt, and reverse the whole trend. And our targets should be the education system, mainly the primary school and the secondary school, because these are people that are still growing, so they need to learn this. The rural farmers themselves, we just need to provide the incentives by having those nature reserves of nurseries and whatever. But also out of school rural youth, because these are the current and future users. If you look at statistics, find that most people who are cutting the trees are the rural youth who have nothing to do, but that's the only way they have anything. And also developing partners, just to make sure that they will provide the necessary resources for them and the capacity building. Next slide. Yeah, I just brought this into just to look at the seriousness of this. This is an article in the newspaper. You find that a minister goes there to try to mediate or to try to provide capacity of people, and Convention are threatening her or him to say, unless you bring out an alternative to us, there's nothing we're going to do. Next slide. At Simpson Foundation, which is the slide before this one, we have tried to make sure that we bring an alternative to them by them making juice out of the natural trees. In the process, they're actually stalling and at the same time making sure that they also have a survival means. In a nutshell, we find that we just need to save and grow. There will be no meaningful sustainable development if we cannot preserve our ecosystems. And we should also remember that Mother Earth can survive without human beings, and human beings cannot survive without it. So it's high time we started to save it. It is no longer an option, but it is real. Thank you very much for your attention. Once again, we are happy to have been invited to this platform. We apologize for the technical hiccup, but as Busy said, that's some of the issues that happens in technicals. Thank you very much, and God bless.
You are welcome, Joseph. Thank you for your presentation. It's the turn now of Miss Hélène Chambaut. She's environmental engineer at IDELE, Institute de l'Élevage in France. It's the French Livestock Institute. It's a non-profit organization, but an R&D organization appointed by the French Ministry of Agriculture. And it is also the national reference and normative body in livestock farming system. It was founded as of 1962. Over to you, Hélène.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you, everybody. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to share some issues that we share on Foire 4 pour 1000 last week. So how we talk about livestock production, how it can provide ecosystem services. So the results come from several projects, research and development, which were led with IDELE in collaboration with INRA partners, you can see below, public foundation, and also public and private companies. I focus on grassland, which is a multi-services ecosystem. As you can see, it keeps open landscape, which give good flora and fauna diversity. It feeds human with milk, meat, wood, and this is produced with very low level of fuel energy, fossil energy. It requires very few pesticide level of fertilizer use, which is prevent from erosion, pollution, from nitrate and pesticides. And it gives also a high level of carbon in soil. That's what I want to show you. So here you can see the average is 85 ton carbon per hectare in the first 30 centimeters of the soil in a permanent grassland compared to 52 in an arable land. So the map in pink shows that almost half of our agriculture area in France is on grassland, and the stocks, as you can see, is in dark yellow. It is high in this region, and nevertheless, it can change a bit when the livestock production is moving to crops, or when there is more intensification of livestock production, which can be motivated to reduce methane emission per unit of cow, or for example. And here you can see on the right, the west part of France, it's Brittany, and the yellow, red colors are where the grassland is decreasing in the region. So that's what we wanted to make tools to talk about this problem and how to have good management on grassland to preserve soil quality and in our country. So we developed a carcel tool. So it is a meta model, which is statistical approach. It is based on 500,000 simulations that were done with sticks and passing, which are research model by INRAE, as you can see in Pèlerin studies, in 4 pour 1000 studies in France. And it is this model, carcel, is built for farmers or for advisors. It's very simple. So first, the farm is located, and then you can have the local rainfall and temperature, and also the soil and analysis of soil that are filling the computer. Then the farmer will give the management of grass, how often that the cow goes to the grass, what are the livestock load on grazing, how many cuts there is on this grass, and what are the yields, and also, of course, what were the fertilization application or end fixation. And if this grassland moves in rotation, so in grass-like rotation, we will feel also on crops what are the fertilization, if there is a cover crop, if there is irrigation, how many years there is in crops. And with all this data, the carceral tools calculate very quickly the expected change in soil carbon content. So is the stock increasing in average in the next 30 years, yes, or decreasing? So with this information, we can discuss with farmers to change management globally on the farm. So this tool is yet tested on farm, and it will be soon implemented in the LCA tools as Capture There. So what is Capture There? It is a multi-stakeholder tool actually run in a lot of farms. As you can see, it's an average assessment on environmental services and effect on pollution also. So there is about 25,000 farmers that have already done it. And you can do, if you want, you can go on free access, you can do it for your farm. So you see all the partners that contributed to this. And so this will make balance between carbon sequestration and greenhouse gases emissions, so that will help people to find the best solution for the planet. For the farmers, some of them get to want to get further. They want to make a valorization of their effort in label bas carbone, what we have, so carbon credit in English. And for ruminant, we have a carbon agri association, which will help them to make it run very easy. So thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to exchange on the platform, and have a good day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hélène. Thank you very much. Let me welcome now Miss Josephine Wen Chan. Josephine is the chairman of Homeland Green Limited, which is a Hong Kong-based charitable organization established in 2013 with the motto, "Be just to the earth for the sake of all beings." It's over to you, Josephine. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Josephine Chen of Homeland Green, a tiny charitable organization in Hong Kong, China. Our motto is, "Be just to the earth for the sake of all beings." Facing all the global ecological crises threatening the balance of our ecosystem, we choose to work from the soil up. At Stand 35, we share the story of the miraculous restoration of the Ulambut Desert in Inner Mongolia, China. Ulambut is the 8th largest desert in China, about 4 times the area of Luxembourg. It used to be one of the major sources of sandstorms affecting Northeast Asia. The attempts at restoration work in Ulambut began over 4 decades ago. Through trial and error, the laborious method of installing straw checkerboards was used to stabilize the shifting sands. Native shrubs were then planted upon the aggregated residues of the decomposed straws, forming shelter belts to slow down the desert encroachment. There were successes and setbacks. Homeland Green's voluntary afforestation work in the area began in 2012. There were times that we had to take shelter from occasional sudden weather hazards or sandstorms. But the most striking memory back then was peasants being relocated to resettlement areas after losing their home and land to moving sands. But the public investment in infrastructure since then has brought huge changes to the region. We witnessed the building of the first desert road right into the heart of Ulambut. And then with it came more afforestation sites, and then communication network, irrigation, power system of green energy, etc. Local family farms and small businesses, guided by the government's zero-emission policy and the technical support from the academia, began to make use of the specific climatic and geographical advantages to grow high-value crops. The landscape of Ulambuk began to take on different colors. Forward-looking and system-thinking entrepreneurs with new holistic mindsets have brought in new technologies and concepts to create a circular economy that enhances and sustains the momentum of recovery with the support of logistics and e-commerce. In 2019 spring and summer, Home and Green organized tree planting to the area with volunteers from Hong Kong. We were amazed to see that once remote and poverty-stricken sandy land had been transformed into a sustainable, bountiful, productive, and prosperous eco-agricultural green zone. Most important of all, the recovery has brought improvement to the livelihoods of the local people as well as the environment. By sharing this story, Home and Green wants to bring a positive message to the international community that with sufficient political willpower and knowledge, large-scale ecological recovery that benefits both people and the planet is indeed feasible. This is now the resettlement village for the poorest in the region. We feel privileged to witness such recovery, which would not be possible without the concerted efforts of cross-disciplined government officials and the academia, small businesses and entrepreneurs, NGOs, voluntary agencies, and of course, the people. Having involved in voluntary afforestation work in several plantation sites across northern China, we feel particularly hopeful as Ulambuk is just one of the many success stories we have come across in person. Inspired by the restoration works in Inner Mongolia, our display at Stand 27 shares our work in promoting regenerative farming in Hong Kong. We documented in the farmers' own words, through the support of Home and Green, their transition process and demonstrated that pest-free farming with higher yield, lower cost, better consumer satisfaction, and ecological benefits of soil improvement and pollution-free is possible and worthwhile, even in small farms in a highly urbanized city like Hong Kong. You're all welcome to visit our Stand 27 and 35. Thank you, and thanks for the invitation and having us.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chen, for your presentation. Last but not least, I have the pleasure to welcome Dr. Paul Lu, who is the Executive Secretary of the 4 per Mille Initiative. He will conclude our event today. Over to you, Paul.
Thank you, Béatrice. So I would like to start by thanking warmly UNEP and the UN Decade on Ecosystem Generation team for the tremendous opportunity they gave us to showcase the dynamism of the network of the 4 per Mille Initiative. Thank you to all the speakers of the 4 per Mille Restoration in Action official event of today, and all the members, partners, and friends of the initiative, having joined the 4 per Mille virtual fair during the EU Green Week, still active until 11th of June 2021. I would also like to thank all of you who follow us behind the screen, almost 100. I also hope that as viewer of our event today, you have enjoyed our virtual world tour of ecosystem restoration. It is amazing how technology allows us to travel from Canada, Brazil, India, Democratic Republic of Congo, Malawi, France, and Hong Kong, China, without emitting a lot of GIT and without moving from our seat. I hope that you share with us the enthusiasm to see that real solutions on eco and agro-system restoration exist in the field and are implemented every day by actors with a lot of energy, like the one who speaks today. If your organization is not part of the 4 per Mille network, do not hesitate to have a look to our website, www.4p1000.org, or to contact us via our social network. We will be more than pleased to welcome you. Last but not least, I would like to thank the team of the Executive Secretariat for the organization of that event, particularly Béatrice Breton-Askar for her very heavy involvement and contribution, as well as Marc Bernard. Thanks again for following us online and for forgiving us for the small technical problems, and see you soon for new events, especially on June 11th. Stay tuned, take care, and long life to the ecosystem restoration and the 4 per Mille initiative. Bye-bye to all of you.